Before this video begins, I would like to state some things that are going to be common about this new series. Number 1, all of these videos, for the most part, will be unscripted. Besides pulling up little bits of information that I am not aware of about the locomotives, for the most part, everything I will say is without a script. So, be prepared to hear some cuts in the audio. And number 2, this is all my headcanon. Some things I will be saying, but some of my takes on characters will not align to how you see them. And I will, again, specify, this is my headcanon. This is how I personally interpret the characters. If you have a problem with that, then you can shove off. And number 3, everything I say is subject to change. My headcanon is constantly changing. Well, without any further ado, let's begin this series. And we're starting off with the most controversial one. Oh boy. Alright, let's get this over with. Before you raise your pitchforks and light your torches, let me explain. Lucas is a London brat in a South Coast Railway K-Class, specifically number 341, built in 1914. He is Monica's little brother, and for the most part, acted a lot like how we know Thomas. However, in December of 1915, he was involved in an accident with the actual 105, Tommy. The two engines were nearly completely destroyed in the wreck, and when they were taken to the works to be fixed, it was discovered that only one of them could be saved. Picking the lesser of two evils, they decided to rebuild 105 using the parts that were left from both engines. When he was fully repaired, 105 looked completely different to how when he first started out, with only having the dip at the front but not at the back, being overall smaller and having a shorter wheelbase. But something else had changed. Both the souls of Tommy and Lucas were now stuck inside the body of 105. And because most of the parts that were used to rebuild 105 were from Lucas, Lucas took control of the body. Now, he did not remember much before the accident. All he remembered was the names Tommy and Lucas. So, in his still recovering mind, he mashed the two names together. And thus, Thomas was born. Thomas worked at Brighton for most of 1916, doing more than shunting, as, to the surprise of many engines, he outperformed all of his siblings. But since he was so much smaller and had a proper boiler, he was able to do more than what the other engines could. However, in December of 1916, shortly after Christmas, Thomas, Timothy, and Monica were sent to the NWR on loan. In 1917, Timothy had his accident where he fell off the viaduct, leaving Thomas with a heavy hole in his heart. He would remain on loan until 1918, when he was officially purchased by the Northwestern, and became the Northwestern Railway's number 1. He will perform pilot duties while also taking the occasional goods or passenger train, since at this point he was well experienced with them. By 1923, he was relegated to only being station pilot. However, in 1925, when he was moved to Wellsworth for a time, and after rescuing James from his accident, he was moved to the Farquhar branch and began running it full-time, with his two coaches, Annie and Clarabelle. During the events of Thomas in Trouble, Thomas decided to wear cowcatchers, despite the fact that the Fat Controller had bought Toby. Thomas kept wearing the tram skirts until 1960, when he crashed into the station master's house and had his running board flattened, fully fixing the problem with his buffer beam. He was also given the push-pull system, enabling him to run up and down the branch line without having to run around his train. Now for the more controversial bit. And the bit that steals from Tobias and the arcade merchant. In 1962, Theodore, number 106, was withdrawn from service and cut up. His soul, however, lingered on, and found his way to Sodor, where he found Thomas. Possessing Thomas's body, he was able to free Tommy's mind and let it take control of the body. Some shenanigans go down. I haven't really figured out this part of the story yet. But long story short, the two souls were eventually separated from the body and went back to their purest form. Tommy as LBSCR 105, and Thomas, or Lucas, as LBSCR K-Class number 341. Lucas opted to keep his name, Thomas, and keep running on the Farquhar branch line, but now as a K-Class. He retained his original whistle and is worked there to this day.